Hey you guys, thank you so much for tuning in today, and for those who are new, welcome to my channel. I'm Hannah and you are watching the very last video that you'll be seeing on this channel, Dose of Hannah. I just want to share with you guys the post that I shared on my Instagram page just announcing that I'd be leaving. Alright, so I pulled up the caption here on my phone, and this is from my public Facebook page actually. So hello, Happy New Year everyone! I have news for you. So Pastor Troy from Église de Grâce, Grace Church, Bucktouche, said something at this weekend's winter retreat that leaves me with a challenge I'd like to welcome you in on. To face the roar. Don't run or hide from it. Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion. Gosh, this is like a tongue twister. Roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. And that's from 1 Peter 5, verse 8. I don't know about you, but the closer I've gotten to God over the years and the more wisdom I've gained, the louder the roars have been. And I cannot afford to face them the same way anymore. Whether it takes weeks, months, or even years for the required changes to be made, I would much rather live a fruitful and abundant life out of which I can lead well in my day-to-day life than inspire thousands online and risk my own. I've asked God to take me deeper, and He's left me with the choice of trusting Him with all of my heart by obeying or ignoring. And I'm going deeper, which in my case requires me to be a lot more intentional with the investment I'm making in my local church, my job, my family, myself, and so many other things, but these are just a few. So cheers to a life of obedience, grace, new beginnings, fruit, and favor. Lord knows I had my own plans for Dose of Hannah, but I genuinely delight in His ways above my own, and if His ways require me to let go of this, then I must. On January 20th, I'll be deactivating this page, my Facebook page, as well as my YouTube channel. Before then, I do plan on sharing a goodbye video, which is this one, including some of my favorite books that have marked me this year. If you have any particular question you'd also like to ask me, please leave them in the comments, and some of you guys actually sent them to me personally. From the stories many of you have shared with me online or in person, I am in absolute awe of how this platform has ministered to you and impacted you in ways I would have never dreamed of. I'm grateful for you all and to God for gracing me through this entire season we've grown together. I love you and ask that you'd share short feedback of how this platform, Dose of Hannah, has impacted your life in the comments down below as an encouragement to everyone who reads, including myself. God bless you, and see you in my last video very soon. So if you haven't already heard, this is, like I said, the last video that you'll be seeing on my channel, because I'm deactivating my channel, my Facebook page, and all that Dose of Hannah is as a platform. And the purpose of this goodbye video is not so much to kind of tell you specifics as to like why I'm making this decision, but for you to understand my heart and I guess where I'm at right now and what God is teaching me. And to also share with you some of the books that have been so impactful in my life this past year, in 2018. I've read approximately, I think, 13 or 12 books this year, and I'm not going to be sharing all of them, just a handful that have been really, really incredible. And there's a song that I also want to share with you guys. If there were a theme song that I can share with you guys for this, it would be New Wine by Hillsong. In the crushing, in the pressing, hey, you are making new wine. In the soul I now surrender, you are breaking new ground. So I yield to you and to your perfect hands. When I trust you, I don't need to understand. So make me a vessel, make me an offering, make me whatever you want me to be. Oh, I came here with nothing. All you have given me, Jesus, when you wine out of me. Oh, Jesus, when you wine out of me. Oh, Jesus, when you wine out of me. That it paints actually such a beautiful analogy of God just making something beautiful out of something that was already good. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't know what I mean, but it makes sense in my heart, and I'm going to try to explain it to you guys through another analogy. So what came to mind was a butterfly and a caterpillar, and most of us hopefully know that before a butterfly turns into a butterfly, it was actually a caterpillar. and it went through the whole cocoon process, and then it turned into a butterfly. So as a caterpillar, it's still a beautiful thing, right? But then it goes through that whole process to then turn into like this beautiful butterfly. And I believe that God, that's just what he does. He turns he turns broken things into beautiful whole things, and he makes them new, but he also turns good things into greater things. And I think that when our finite minds and understanding of things, we sometimes feel like God is taking something away from us. But if our hearts are so aligned with his, and that we are truly walking with him, Mina, that's Mina downstairs. If you truly understand that, if you're walking with God and your heart is so aligned with his, not to say that I'm perfect, but if that's the way that you're going, then making a decision like this isn't like, it doesn't feel like somebody's taking something away from me. It actually feels like I'm letting go of something because I know that there's something better. And what I mean by that is, what I wanted to be really clear about is, this has been a platform. More than anything, it was a platform. It was a platform, right? And platforms look different. You know, there's not only an online platform, your whole life is your platform, actually, and the most important one, I think. And I've always made it a thing that I would be leading out of my actual life. Like, anything that I say, anything that I share with you guys, if it wasn't something that I was actually going through and walking through in my day-to-day life, then I wouldn't want to just come in front of my camera and kind of just make it seem like all is good and I'm like holy and perfect and whatever, because I'm not, and I've made that very clear. It's been a way for me to connect with people, and it's been so many amazing things. But it's a platform, and just like God has given me this platform, I believe that he's giving me another platform in a different way that I don't actually know yet, but I trust him. And there's just been so many things like happening in my life, like in my day-to-day life, people that I've met and all these things that I'm just wanting to invest more into. And in order to do that, I need to let go of this. I really do. And the best way that I can explain it is that, like, depending on the season that you're in, as we grow in all of these things, like, there are certain things that we need to let go of. Like, if I'm growing up and you know, like, my body is changing and all these things, I can't be fitting in the same things anymore. And that's kind of how I see this. So when I shared in the caption saying, like, you know, facing the roar and you know, facing more roars than ever before, it's nothing for you to like pity me for, because we're all facing roars in subtle ways or in like big ways, like an actual lion, like, you know what I mean? Hello everybody. So this is, I guess, a little break as you're watching the video. I hope you're enjoying it so far, but I just wanted to jump in real quick and apologize for the blurry footage. I don't know what happened there, but I hope you can just look past that and listen to me. For the points where it gets blurry, what I suggest is just to do your own thing and listen to it as a podcast, or listen to me as a podcast. So yeah, keep on watching and enjoy. But we're all facing roars, and you know, we're given the free will to decide how we want to face it. God equips us all as children of God. Like, he equips us, he gives us all that we need to face these things. But I think that it's actually beautiful that whether I were to choose to like continue doing this DOSEofHANNA thing or go the route that I'm taking right now, God is still standing behind me, and I know that. And I know that, so I don't feel pressured to make this decision. It's just genuinely out of like the joy of my heart that I'm making this decision. And I feel almost like I'm shaving my head all over again. If you guys know this, hopefully you know this by now, but I actually have gone through this whole journey of like shaving my hair and letting it grow back and all these things. And I remember after this just like huge revelation of who God was and his love for me and my identity in him and so many other things, but ultimately just that revelation and like how real it was. How real it was. It felt like almost like it was just me and God, like, in the world. Like I was invincible kind of thing. And the reason why I'm tearing up is because this couldn't have been me. If any of you guys know me, at the point that I was extremely shy, frail kind of person. But at that time especially, it's like, I don't want anybody to look at me. And it was in a very unhealthy way, like, because I just didn't want to be known or seen. And so shaving my head, like, couldn't have possibly been out of my own like desire, you know, like I want to shave my head because I think it's cute. No, I thought it was like a great look and all of that, but it was more than that. It was more of, God, I don't care. I don't care because you see me and that matters to me most. And so it was a whole journey and thing. Like I addressed the fears that I had in going in that, and I faced a lot of my fears actually, but it was more of that like releasing something that was very near and dear to my heart, my hair, you know, like being a woman, all of these things. Like I released that because I trusted God. And in my life, I've continued to make those kind of like sacrifices, those actual sacrifices in my life, or, you know, facing fears and believing that God is with me and what he says is true, because in that I see his faithfulness. You know what I mean? And to me, that has always been so important for me. So yes, like there's been so much work that has gone into like making videos and all that, and I've had an amazing time doing it. And it, like I said in my caption, like I'm so grateful for this whole season that God has graced me through, but it's been a gift. And I think that that's why it's so important to be so intentional with the time that we're given, because if we're just present and making the most out of that, then if it's taken away from us, or if we decide to give it away, it's not like, oh, part of my heart is going away. No, it's just this gift. So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, then one day it might make sense to you, but that's kind of my heart in making this decision. I am not going through some sort of crisis. I kind of always am going through some sort of crisis though, on a real note. I've just made like the most incredible connections with great people, and in a way it's been such a tool, a discipling kind of tool for me, and I think that it actually has encouraged you guys a lot as well, which is incredible. And yeah, I don't take that for granted. And so now there are a few books that I want to share with you guys. So I'm gonna go in order of like the books that I read in the beginning to the most recent ones. So the first one that I want to share with you guys is this one right here. In my previous book review video, I shared another book by Bob Goff. It was his first one. This is the second one that he came out with. And what I'm gonna do to kind of just share a little bit more about this book is to just literally read the back for you, and a few thoughts, I guess. So I love Bob Goff. I've already mentioned this many times, and especially being a person that is just wanting to be after God's pure heart, and just knowing his heart with nothing like added to it or nothing removed from it, just his heart. I'm just so drawn to people that are after the same thing, and Bob Goff is definitely one of those people. This one is called Everybody Always. So being a lover of Christ, I just have the natural desire to love like him, to love others like him. So Everybody Always is about becoming love in a world full of setbacks and difficult people. So I'm reading the back for you right now. What happens when we give away love like we're made of it? In his entertaining and inspiring follow-up to the New York Times best-selling phenomenon Love Does, Bob Goff takes readers on a journey to the secret of living without fear, constraint, or worry. The path toward the liberated existence we all long for is found in a truth as simple to say as it is hard to do. Love people, even the difficult ones, without distinction and without limits. Driven by Bob's trademark storytelling, Everybody Always reveals the lessons Bob learned, often the hard way, about what it means to love without inhibition, insecurity, or restriction. From finding the right friends to discovering the upside of failure, Everybody Always points the way to embodying love by doing the unexpected, the intimidating, the seemingly impossible. Whether losing his shoes while skydiving solo or befriending a Ugandan witch doctor, Bob steps into life with a no-limit embrace of others that is as infectious as it is extraordinarily ordinary. Everybody Always reveals how we can do the same. So just keep in mind that the books I'm sharing with you are handpicked. Like, I'm purposely not sharing all of them because not all of them have had such a huge impact. They've all been actually great, the books that I've read, but these are the ones that I really want to recommend and tell you, like, if you're looking for a book to read this. And also to those who are not huge readers, just know that I didn't grow up being a huge reader, but I want to encourage you to read, and just to encourage you in saying that, like, there's a book for you out there. And one of the reasons why I love books is that it's a way to connect with people. It's just a great way to learn and grow and to make beautiful connections. Yeah, so who knows, maybe I'll write a book someday. I love writing, and I love reading now. So yeah. So the next book that I want to share with you guys is actually Love Lives Here. And this was written by Bob Goff's wife. That's the main reason why I picked it up, not even knowing what the entire book would be about. I really wanted to look into this because Bob Goff is always speaking about his wife in such amazing ways. And in Love Does, I learned a bit more about like how they met, and I was just interested in reading this book. So Love Lives Here, finding what you need in a world telling you what you want. So this is a book about discovering what we really need. Love Lives Here is a collection of stories that include the way Maria and her husband navigated family their way. Without clear instructions or a roadmap, it's meant to inspire you to think about how to make life meaningful and how to create a space to grow while loving others. So in the back, you know, there's a few like praise things from other writers and people, which I don't really want to read right now, but just know that I feel like this kind of is like an extension to Bob Goff's life, which it is. It's his wife writing this, so you get a glimpse into his life from a different perspective, which is kind of what I wanted to get out of this book. And his wife is amazing. Their life is pretty incredible, and I've never seen, or when I say I've never met anybody like him, it almost feels like I've met him, but I've never met anybody like them before. So the next book is Love Lives Here. I had no intention on reading this book ever, but I worked at a bookstore these past few months, and this one was literally just there, and I read a few pages. I was like, oh my gosh, this is really good. And yeah, so I grew up listening to Hillsong worship. Hillsong in general has had such an impact on my life growing up, but I was never drawn to, you know, the head pastor and all of that. And I was, I guess, kind of what's the word, like when you're skeptical about the entire thing, because it's such a grand thing that I was afraid to kind of get lost into that entire thing. As much as like I have trusted the heart of Hillsong, I was never really drawn to like the pastor and the leader, which is kind of a shame because he's the pioneer, I guess, of this entire thing. All thanks to God. But I really loved this book. So Your Best Is Yet to Come, Live, Love, Lead. Sorry. So whether you are searching for your calling or wholeheartedly pursuing your life's purpose, Brian Houston's transformative approach to life will help you navigate a faith path that is all your own and discover unique gifts tailored perfectly for your journey. In his straightforward book, Brian Houston shares his his own life-tested experiences and the powerful biblical truths that he's learned that will enable you to live fully, love completely, and lead boldly, the hallmarks of Jesus' time on earth. When it comes to life with Jesus, there's no doubt your best is yet to come. So in short, yes. Before last book that I'm sharing with you guys is Gay Girl, Good God. Jackie Hill Perry is an incredible author, speaker, poet, and it's actually the most unique book that I've ever read. One, because of the story, but also because of the way that she shared it in such a poetic way. And yes, so at the bottom it says the story of who I was and who God has always been. In the back, I used to be lesbian, quote unquote. In Gay Girl, Good God, author Jackie Hill Perry shares her own story, offering practical tools that helped her in the process of finding wholeness. Jackie grew up fatherless, experienced gender confusion, and embraced both masculinity and homosexuality with every fiber of her being. She knew that Christians had a lot to say about all of the above, but was she supposed to change herself? How was she supposed to stop loving women when homosexuality felt more natural to her than heterosexuality ever could? At age 19, Jackie came face to face with what it meant to be made new, and not in a church or through contact with Christians. God broke in and turned her heart towards him right in her own bedroom in light of his gospel. Read in order to understand, read in order to hope, or read in order to, like Jackie, be made new. I hope that you don't feel like I'm like undermining what these books have, you know, like done in my life, because they're all incredible, but my battery's dying first of all, and I really want to make this video as concise as possible. So the last book is actually one that was recommended by Loza on Instagram. Maybe you guys know of her, maybe you don't, but if you don't, you should follow her because she's incredible and she carries the light of Jesus so beautifully. So this story is by Scott Harrison. It's a story of redemption, compassion, and a mission to bring clean water to the world. He's the founder and CEO of Charity Water. I actually hadn't heard of this charity prior to reading this book, but now I know a lot more about it, and I'm going to read this part for you guys. So it's an inspiring personal story of redemption, second chances, and the transformative power within us all, from the founder and CEO of the massively successful nonprofit Charity Water. At 28 years old, Scott Harrison had it all as a top club promoter in New York City. His life was an endless cycle of drugs, booze, models, and repeat. But 10 years in, desperately unhappy and morally bankrupt, he asked himself, what would the exact opposite of my life look like? Walking away from everything, Harrison spent the next 16 months on a hospital ship in West Africa and discovered his true calling. In 2006, with no money and less than no experience, Harrison founded Charity Water. Today, his organization has raised over $300 million to bring clean drinking water to more than 8 million people around the globe. In Thirst, Harrison recounts the twists and turns that built Charity Water into one of the most trusted and admired nonprofits in the world. Renowned for its 100% donation model, bold storytelling, imaginative branding, and radical commitment to transparency, Charity Water has disrupted how social entrepreneurs work while inspiring millions of people to join its mission of bringing clean water to everyone on the planet within our lifetime. In the tradition of such best-selling books as Shoe Dogs and blah blah blah, Thirst is a riveting account of how to build a better charity, a better business, and better life, and a gritty tale that proves it's never too late to make a change. And 100% of authors' net proceeds from Thirst will go to fund charity water projects around the world, which is pretty cool. And this has just been an incredible book. I'm nearly done, but I'm just learning so much from the life that he's lived and his family, his wife, and building this thing from, from nothing. So that was a lot of information, but these books have been incredible. I love you guys very much. And with the few minutes I have left before my battery dies on me, I would love to just pray. So if you've never prayed before, this is just like an intimate moment between you and God, and I'll just lead, and you can bow your head, you can close your eyes, whatever you would like to do. But thank you, Heavenly Father, for all that this has been, this platform that you've given me to just share your love in a simple way, and in the way that I knew or have known how to. I thank you for just your kindness, God. I thank you for the kindness that you have shown through this journey. And I thank you for all that you taught me through leading this, but also through the people that have poured into my life, and the challenges that I've faced in building this whole thing, God. I just pray for every single person who's listening to my voice right now, and who is been on this journey with me from the beginning, or even if they just discovered DOSEofHANNA last week. I just pray that, God, you would speak to them in a way that they would hear your voice so clearly, God, and that we would all just be after your heart and understand your gospel in such a pure and simple way, Lord God. And I pray, Lord God, that you would just show us how to live out in such a transparent way of just loving, God, and understanding what love even is. So God, as you are constantly pursuing our hearts, God, may we be receptive to that, but also just be pursuing your heart and be pursuing truth. Lord, I thank you for forgiveness, for grace, for mercy, and for revealing yourself more and more through your word and through nature and all of these things in my life, God. So as I was done praying, I looked up and realized the card is full, which is great, so great. But I just wanted to share with you guys how I kind of ended that prayer, just thanking God for the gift of salvation, and just asking that he would direct our paths, which I believe that he is doing, but that our hearts would just be so aligned with his, and that his will would be done on earth as it is in heaven. And I thanked him for eternity, for heaven, for hope, and I just asked that he would bless the rest of our lives, and that he would bless this very day, in Jesus' name. Amen. So I guess this is the end of the video then. Have a wonderful year, you guys. Some of you may have set some goals and those kind of things, but I love you guys very, very much. And for those of you guys who have asked how we can keep in touch, like I said, this is a whole new journey. So keeping in touch won't be very feasible right now. And I'm speaking to those who I've gotten the privilege to connect with on this page and through this platform. And I know it's kind of sad, but I just trust that if we're meant to connect again in any kind of way, then we will. And that can look like different things, whether I'm at a conference or I'm traveling or whatever it may be. Like, we'll connect. We will connect. But you know what? I've actually been thinking of something. So over the holidays, I had written some letters and sent some out. So I still have like 10 stamps that I would love to use for you guys. So first 10 people who just share their address with me at DOSEofHANNA@outlook.com. Your full address, with no mistakes. The first 10 people who send it will receive a handwritten letter from me. And I guess that will be that for the last that you'll hear of me as Dose of Hannah. Oh, and if ever you're in the city, I am a part of Resurgent Church. If ever you're wanting to connect in any kind of way, then come visit us. And we need to end this video.